Morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I want to welcome all of you who have joined us from locations far and wide. We have a lot of people here with us from the US, Europe, Canada, and Ukraine, but also as far as Africa and Australia. My name is Aneta Huko, or Aneta Havko in Ukrainian, and I have the honor to lead the Ukrainian Catholic University Foundation here in the United States. Our sole mission at the foundation is to raise funds, friends, and support for the amazing institution of higher learning, the Ukrainian Catholic University, or as you'll hear us refer to it, UKU, using the Ukrainian pronunciation of the acronym. The work that we do to help raise funds for the university, along with our colleagues in Ukraine and many of you who are on this call, is very important for UKU, as private donations account for approximately 50 to 60% of the operating budget of this incredible institution. So thank you all for your support and your continued support. Today, we come together again to mark the end of the third year of war since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine and 11 years since the Revolution of Dignity, the annexation of Crimea, and the escalation of the fighting in the eastern regions of Ukraine. And now we're also faced with a tumultuous and ever more confusing global political arena. But even in the midst of all this turbulence and chaos, I think you'll see today that the Ukrainian Catholic University serves as a beacon of stability and hope, and a shining example of the perseverance and resilience of Ukraine and Ukrainians. UKU continues to deliver a world-class educational experience and develop empathetic and ethical leaders for Ukraine's civil society. And as you'll hear today from UKU leadership and its students, you'll hear about the many meaningful ways that this remarkable UKU community comes together to provide aid and support in so many ways that truly meet the moment at this crucial time in Ukraine, and how it's poised to meet the moments of the future as well. Before we get started, I just wanted to touch a couple housekeeping notes. First, please know that we are recording this webinar, and we will have it up in various different places. So if you'd like to tell a friend who couldn't make it, by all means, they could listen elsewhere. We have about 1 hour of a program organized, and we plan at the end of that to have a Q&A session for those of you who would want to stay on further. Now, you'll note that we've muted all the mics. However, that doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from you, but we have the chat open and it'll remain open throughout the presentation. We encourage you to post your questions there, and we'll do our best to address them either real time in the chat or with our speakers during the Q&A at the end. So, to start us off, I'd like to share a brief video greeting and prayer for Metropolitan Archbishop Boris, President of UKU, and a true visionary and leader for the Theological Academy and the Ukrainian Catholic University in its current chapter of a very long and rich and storied history. Archbishop Boris wanted to join us here today, but he's in Toronto with Patriarch Sviatoslav, where they're taking part in the meetings of the Permanent Synod of the Bishops of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. I let you hear
Dear
from
brothers and sisters, Slava Isusu Christu, glory to Jesus Christ. Let us begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And we ask for the Lord's blessing upon our meeting, upon Ukraine, upon the world in this turbulent time. All of us know the devastation of this war. The tremendous losses, the hundreds of thousands of people killed, many more maimed, millions who are forced into wandering as refugees, those who are IDPs, internally displaced persons. 4,000 schools damaged or destroyed, 2,000 hospitals, 700 churches, 15,000 miles of roads, countless bridges, the dwellings of millions of people, entire cities and towns have been razed. This is the context for the mission that we share and support, the mission of the Ukrainian Catholic University. And in every moment when it has been tough, the tough have gotten going. UCU has been there at the time of the Orange Revolution and the Revolution of Dignity, the beginning of the war in 2014, and at the time of the full-scale invasion. Members of our community are on the front. 34 members of the UCU family have given their lives. Students, graduates, staff, faculty, brothers, fathers of members of our community. The university has received hundreds and hundreds of refugees for months. The university has been a logistics hub for humanitarian aid, medical aid. In all of these circumstances, this community, which you support, finds the courage and the perseverance, the competence and the care to serve. It's a university that serves. We really don't know what will happen tomorrow, next year. What we do know is we need people who have moral fiber, who have a vision, who have faith, who love each other, who understand that serving and serving competently is a great joy. It's a great privilege. I thank you so much for supporting the university, its faculty, its students, the whole community around the university ecosystem, which is such an oasis, such a bright light at this time of turbulence and a time that sometimes seems quite dark. The university is a community of hope for me, and I'm sure that it is a community of hope for you. It's a community of hope for millions. Today, everybody in higher education, everybody in education in Ukraine, from President Zelensky to young, aspiring future students, look towards the Ukrainian Catholic University as a model, as a beacon, as a source of hope. Thank you for being part of this hope-filled project. I hope you can continue to support the university and attract others into this community of hope. God bless you.
Thank you. Those moving words from Vladika Boris. Before we actually get to the live speakers, we have another video that we'd like to share with you titled, "To Be People of Hope." It's a kind of review of the last year at UCU, and it helps to really come to life the humanitarian aid and the support activity that goes on in the UCU community and how volunteerism and community service are truly embedded in the UCU experience. After all, traveling to UCU is particularly difficult these days, and even in the best of times, seeing campus, feeling campus, meeting the students would be difficult. At least with this video, we hope to bring a little bit of UCU right onto your screen and into your home so that you can see how UCU truly is a university that serves. Video, please.
багато ви отримали як дар.
You have received a lot as a gift, which deserves great gratitude. So first of all, be grateful, and also be people of hope. 319 bachelors and 336 masters joined the UCU alumni community this year. Combat medic Hlib Bidyukov. During a short vacation, Hlib came straight from the front line to UCU to receive his master's degree in public administration. UCU has made an incredible contribution to the development of Ukraine by its very existence. These 30 years were difficult, of course, because we had to start from nothing and then develop. Now, we see how well Ukrainian Catholic University has succeeded. A one-day pilgrimage to the UCU community became a sign of gratitude for 30 years of incredible university development. Today's pilgrimage is an excellent opportunity to remember the journey to the university where I am studying. It is very valuable to hear all the words that are spoken today in order to communicate with people who are involved in the university in various fields. The opening of the University Medical Clinic is a significant event for the city and the country. This place is a base for the practice of future physical therapists, occupational therapists, and psychologists. We have trained more than 1,500 physical therapists in rehabilitation centers throughout Ukraine. The university responds to the harrowing challenges faced by Ukraine through its work. The university wants to support Ukraine with its expertise in those problematic, difficult places. We understand that the war will leave a lot of wounds and it will have consequences for physical health and mental health. And we will need to work hard on healing, which requires science. It requires modern knowledge and skills, specialists, not just skilled ones, but wise, loving ones, united in communities, in teams. Our faculties and our university train these specialists. I've been at war from the beginning. That is, I did not start from scratch. I got wounded when I stepped on a mine. I accidentally found out that I was no longer paid. I turned to a legal clinic. When I called them, my eyes were opened. They answered me so professionally. In the legal clinic, under the guidance of curators, students provide free legal assistance to people who have found themselves in difficult life circumstances due to the Russian invasion. In 2023 alone, students helped solve more than 1,000 cases. They also document war crimes committed by Russia against Ukraine here. According to Forbes Ukraine in 2024, UCU became the leader in Ukraine in terms of the average score of applicants in the most popular specialties, topping the lists in IT, law, and psychology. A new bachelor's program in robotics started in September. The ethics of how artificial intelligence will work in robotics is a very difficult task. It is actually a challenge that UCU and the Faculty of Applied Sciences, in general, can face and provide interesting and extraordinary answers to. And the demand from the Army, from medicine, is extremely high. Somebody has to assemble these prostheses. Somebody has to create them. Tetiana Banak, although visually impaired, was able to write and defend her dissertation on Polish-Ukrainian reconciliation successfully. I think that this opens the way for many young people who, for various reasons and circumstances, are deprived of any opportunities to pursue academic careers. This example shows that there are no obstacles if there is a will. There must be the will of the graduate student and the researcher. But there must also be the will of the institution itself to do so. And it is very important for me that this happens at a Catholic university. I love this university very much, but it is now also a source of pride for me. During an expedition to eastern Ukraine, the project Small Stories of the Great War team visits university community members in front-line cities and documents the stories of soldiers from the UCU community fighting at the front. UCU became the first university in Ukraine to start working with war veterans on a systematic level. Father John Jenkins, the 17th president of the University of Notre Dame, received the title of Doctor Honoris Causa. He came to the university with a visit of solidarity and support.
What is impressive when I come to this country is see the spirit of the people of Ukraine, who in this difficult moment are able to show courage and solidarity and to move forward. And I think right now that's the most important thing.
10 members of the university community were killed by the Russian aggressor in 2024. UCU alumni Dmytro Slivka, Ivan Paramonov, and Mykola Ayevoy, as a result of Russian missile attacks on civilian infrastructure, the Russians took the lives of UCU student Irina Mironenko and her daughter Maria. Daria Bazilevich, a student of the Cultural Studies program, her two sisters, Yarina and Amelia, and their mother, Yevgenia, were killed in the stairway of their home while hiding during an air raid in Lviv. To honor the memory of the victims, UCU continues to raise funds for endowed scholarships. The Alliance of Ukrainian Universities includes 6 leading higher education institutions. When you have limited resources, and they are becoming more and more restricted with the war, there is no other way to achieve some big goals other than to unite. This year, the Alliance continued implementing a large-scale development project in 12 territorial communities affected by the war. How to scale a business during the war. 42 entrepreneurs have completed the Stanford Ignite Ukraine program from UCU's CFE Accelerator and Stanford Graduate School of Business. The program aims to become a bridge between Ukrainian entrepreneurs and the Silicon Valley community, and a catalyst for the development of small and medium-sized businesses in Ukraine. In 2020, Professor Adrian Slawowski recorded an online course called David Wins. It gave rise to the UCU Online Project, the educational platform of the Ukrainian Catholic University. The best teachers and their courses became available to the broadest audience in Ukraine and worldwide. Today, we have already reached 30 courses from the Ukrainian Catholic University on our platform. That's 17,000 users who have taken or registered for a course from UCU. We work a lot with humanities courses. We see that there is now a great demand from society for information about the history of their country and culture. We actively fulfill these requests because we have the best teachers on these topics. You know, sculpture is such a very parsimonious language. We have to express something significant in one form. It was Bishop Boris's idea. Mine was a plastic solution. How do you make these gestures work? 6 sculptures near the Church of St. Sophia, the Wisdom of God, indicate the gestures of consecration of the gifts during the Divine Liturgy. The Lord took into his holy and immaculate hands, praised, blessed, sanctified, broke and gave. Dear brothers and sisters, it is the same in life. Unless we are broken, we can hardly give life to others.
I'll give you all a moment just to absorb the impact of that. I've seen this video numerous times, and each time I'm moved and inspired, and I learn something new or I see something new. And I was observing some of the traffic on the chat, and by all means, if you are interested in going to visit Uku, by all means you should go. To be able to experience some of the things that you just saw, to be able to experience that live, as I had the opportunity to do last summer, is really a very, very moving and worthwhile experience. And there are many different ways you can engage. And you've seen how indeed Uku is a university that serves. So, about the university that serves, it's now my great honor and pleasure to introduce to you the rector of the Ukrainian Catholic University, Dr. Taras Dubko. An esteemed academician in applied sciences and philosophy, with over 25 years of tenure at UCU, Dr. Dubko has proven himself a skilled lecturer, an administrator, a terrific leader, and a strategic thinker. And I'd like to add on a personal note, a truly wonderful human being. And as the leader of this university, Taras will share his perspectives with us on where we are today, what we're doing, and a little bit of a glimpse into the hope and resilience and reassurance for the future. Taras, please.
Thank you, Aneta, for a very generous introduction. Slava Isusu Christu, glory to Jesus Christ. Good afternoon, dear friends. I am very delighted to meet all of you and share with you some news and observations about the life in our university. Of course, as you know, this week we crossed the mark of 3 years of the full-scale Russian war against Ukraine. And there are two most important issues we have been addressing as a university during the war. First, how to support our people, how to help our students, faculty, and staff to find strengths just to keep going, how to stay resilient and strong. And second, how to contribute to Ukraine's victory and future recovery. Half a year into the war, we were able to switch from the operational mode of survival to the mode of service. We transformed our strategy and our daily operations to respond to the challenges of the wartime. We switched from emergency response approach to exercising long-term impact on society, both locally and globally. We were able to instill a sense of development into our community and avoid any sense of inertia or stagnation. This sense of mission and purpose, I must say, contributed immensely to the resilience of UCU students, faculty, and staff. So we were able to achieve this thanks to selfless service of many Ukrainians who joined the armed forces of Ukraine, and there are many people among them from the UCU community. There are 20 students, 16 staff members, and 82 alumni who either volunteered or were called for military service. 45 employees and 110 students are waiting for the return of their immediate relatives from the front. 35 members of our community laid their lives for our freedom and dignity, and we are looking for the dignified ways of remembering, of commemorating their ultimate sacrifice. I keep saying that to win peace and rebuild Ukraine, we need smart people of character and cutting-edge technologies. UCU is a place that develops both. Exemplary character is evident in our alumni. 3 weeks ago, we held our winter commencement for the graduates of our master programs. UCU alumni community reached now 7,310 people. And these are young people we are proud of. One of them is Olena Pshenichna, who delivered a valedictorian address on behalf of the graduates at the commencement ceremony. Olena is a graduate of the program for nonprofit management and is a leader at the respectable charitable organization Voice of Children. She is also a writer who published her first book last year. In her speech, Olena shared her life motto. I quote, I am not an insignificant person. A lot of depends on me. At UCU, she said she found a community of non-indifferent people who share the same principle that a lot of depends on them and who successfully implement what depends on them. Olena also admitted that she had doubts about whether obtaining an education was truly necessary during wartime, and here's her response, I quote, "The enemy wants us to be afraid, to freeze in fear, so we must find the strength to keep moving forward ourselves, society, the state, the world. UCU became a place for me where I always found fuel for such a movement. We all found fuel here," end of quote. UCU seeks to be a place of strength for young people and their families, for our faculty and staff, for our alumni and donors, for veterans and their loved ones. Over the last year, we have been working at implementation of the program of holistic care for our employees and the comprehensive program of mental health care for students and staff. Together with the UCU Office for Veterans and Their Families Affairs, we designed policies which include special measures for hiring, adaptation, professional development, and support of veterans and their families. There are already 9 staff members, 16 students, and 22 alumni who returned to a civilian life. 13 veterans and active service members pursue their education at UCU. We have already started different courses on leadership, business, data science for veterans. UCU is also a place where emerging technologies are studied and tested. So you have already seen in the movie that one of the most conspicuous academic developments contributing to Ukraine's security and recovery will be the undergraduate program in robotics. It will train specialists capable of developing, manufacturing, and testing complex robotics systems. The graduates will be capable of developing, implementing, and optimizing robotic solutions for various industries, including manufacturing, healthcare, military, and humanitarian needs. The war will leave more than one scar on the body of our country and in the souls of our people. Ukrainians are currently facing many spiritual, moral, physical, psychological, and social trials. Therefore, one of key areas of our service is healing the wounds of the war. We share Olena Zelenska's motto, First Lady mottos, I quote, "If we help people to recover, we will be able to recover everything else." I have already mentioned the UCU leadership role in providing a system of mental health care within UCU community, as well as our programs for veterans and their families. There are other important areas of our contribution to healing the wounds which stretch beyond UCU walls. Here I mean UCU Medical Clinic, of course, which was launched in June last year. It not only provides, so to speak, high-quality medical services, but also strives to demonstrate new culture of interaction between doctor and patient based on mutual recognition of each other's dignity. And the clinic greatly amplifies the work of our faculty of health sciences and its academic programs in physical and occupational therapy, social work, clinical psychology, and psychotherapy, which constitutes the core of UCU's activity in healing the wounds of the war. I would also like to highlight the work of the UCU Legal Clinic. You have heard about it already. So where law students provide free legal assistance to military personnel, veterans, their family members, and individuals affected by the war. Since the summer of 2023, the clinic has been collaborating also with the Center for Prosthetics, Reconstructive Surgery, and Rehabilitation of War Victims, Superhumans. As part of this cooperation, the clinic provided legal service in 220 cases. It is impossible to mention all the initiatives here. I would like to single out 2 examples how UCU offers restoration programs for people closely involved with the war. The Institute of Leadership and Management runs the so-called On the Cloud program dedicated to the recovery of volunteers and leaders of civil society organizations. So far, 4 recovery schools have been held with more than 100 participants. For 2 years in a row, the Institute of Ecumenical Studies has been organizing summer retreats for military chaplains. The Summer Rehabilitation and Recovery School Recover to Inspire Others is designed to provide spiritual and psychotherapeutic renewal, as well as to facilitate the exchange of chaplaincy experiences. One of UKU's strategic directions during the war is promoting the Ukrainian agenda worldwide through academic, so-called science, cultural, and religious diplomacy. This includes supporting Ukrainian studies centers at leading Western universities, organizing joint Ukrainian studies conferences, for example, in Munich, Notre Dame, and Rome, expanding student participation in the United Nations national model, launching the master's program in heritage studies to train cultural diplomats, opening the UKU Center in Wrocław, the activities of the UKU Ukrainian Institute in London, and much more. Now, UKU will have a greater presence in Washington, D.C., at the initiative of the UGCC Department of External Church Relations and Archbishop Boris Gudziak, UKU has launched the St. Gabriel Institute in the U.S. Capitol. Its landmark activity is Church Communication and Diplomacy Program, initiated by the Synod of Bishops of the UGCC. One of the most recent developments in this regard is also the Bridge initiative, implementing the collaborative online international learning methodology in collaboration with 5 leading Latin American universities. The methodology will enable students and faculty from Ukraine and Latin America to co-develop academic courses, engage in joint educational initiatives, and exchange knowledge in a shared virtual learning environment. This is a relatively easy way to include Ukrainian topics into curricula of international universities. We are going to face a year of exceptional turbulence, especially as a dominant global trend in international politics and communication seems to become one of arrogance and humiliation. This will further increase the vulnerability of Ukrainian society and our institution. Social and political polarization will grow in Ukraine, especially if it comes to the elections. In such circumstances, any institution that will foster unity becomes invaluable. UKU as a university and as a faith-based academic institution is called to build bridges, overcome societal polarization, and care for social cohesion, bringing hope and healing. UKU is meant to be an island of stability in an ocean of turbulence, and it is important to preserve such institutions by all means. We will also have to deal with the risk of disappointment, frustration, or even resentment among Ukrainians after the imperfect peace deal is established. Russia will seek to instill fear in people's heart. It will try to demoralize Ukrainians, to destabilize our society through its information war. It is very important to face all this uncertainty with hope, because, I quote Alexandra Matviichuk, a Nobel Peace Prize winner from Ukraine, hope is not a carefree confidence that everything will be fine, but a deep conviction that all our today's efforts are meaningful. End of quote. UKU is called to be a source of hope as well as translate hope into social action to protect society from exploding from within and release the positive energy needed to transform the country. Every day, young people come to our university to gain knowledge, to work here and now, to volunteer, to help those in need, and to support one another. Every day, the UKU community tirelessly strives to ensure that even in times of war, quality education can be obtained in Ukraine. Every day in our Church of Holy Wisdom of God, prayers are offered for victory, for our defenders, and for the fallen heroes. We have no time for anxiety. We cannot afford the luxury of fatigue. We have no right to give up. We are learning to face adversity with courage, suffering with resilience, and uncertainty with hope. Share this message with your family and friends, because it is the good news of the gospel. And as people in Ukraine say nowadays, if you start feeling anxious and worried in your heart, just donate to the armed forces of Ukraine. Though the world is broken, UKU is not. UKU is a university that serves, not the university that survives. Please continue to support the Ukrainian Catholic University and all those who fight for freedom, God-given dignity, justice, and peace. Thank you for your support very much.
Thank you, Taras, for those inspiring words of hope and resilience. And, I think back to the video and the reference that Professor Adrian Slavotsky made to David and Goliath. I mean, UCU is exactly that story where you're having a global impact. You're having an impact far beyond the borders of Ukraine. It's very thrilling to be associated with that, and we will do all that we can to continue to support UCU in its mission. So now, one of the other things that I was struck by, Taras mentioned that people at UCU are smart people of character. The valedictorian talked about non-indifferent people. Well, now it's your chance to hear directly from some of the students at UCU who are definitely non-indifferent and are definitely smart people of character. Our first student is Yaroslav Ovarchuk. He's a fourth-year law student at UCU who actively applies his legal knowledge and hones his skills at the legal clinic of the School of Law. You've seen that referenced in the video and Taras's presentation. Each student at the law school is required to volunteer and provide legal aid services to their constituents. Yaroslav's work focuses on assistance to servicemen and women and veterans and their families to ensure that they receive the legal support they need with matters concerning military service, social protections, and legal rights. I will say that I also, as an aside, had the serendipitous pleasure of meeting Yaroslav when I was in Ukraine this past summer. I was at a reception in the Sheptytsky lobby, and I saw the banner for the UCU Law Clinic, and I thought, I'll just pop in, and the lights were on. I'll see what's going on. It was a balmy summer afternoon, and there were 3 students and their supervisor working away, doing their volunteer work when they could have been out gallivanting about town, but they were dedicated to their cause. So it's with great pleasure that I introduce Yaroslav to you, and he can share with you about his own personal experience and his work.
Glory to Jesus Christ. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here today and share my story with you. And it's an honor for me to also speak about a project that holds a special place in the heart of Ukrainian Catholic University and reflects the university's mission of witness, serve, and communicate. My name is Yaroslav, and I'm fourth-year law student in the Ukrainian Catholic University, and for almost 2 years, I have been involved in the work of our legal clinic. And since legal clinic is a mandatory course for third-year undergraduate students and for master students, every law student has the chance to be involved in the great work started by the founder and head of our legal clinic, Christina Kovtun. Since its foundation in 2017, the legal clinic has been specialized, which means that we provide free legal aid mostly to militaries, veterans, and people affected by the war. Unfortunately, since Russia's full-scale invasion, the demand for such services has increased, and for the past year and a half, most of our clients have been military and civilians with war-related disabilities. Such a sharp increase in the number of militaries and people with disabilities naturally increases the number of legal problems and issues faced by these categories of people. So the ability to provide quality and free legal aid, which we can do thanks to the huge expertise of our mentors, is very important, not only for us as for future lawyers, but also for hundreds of people whose lives have been changed irrevocably. Last year, the legal clinic completed almost 500 cases, and this is a crazy result for only about 50 students and 3 supervisors. But it's important to understand that behind each number is a unique and individual story of a person whose life has been ruined by Russia. And I can talk for a long time about the unique people we've met while providing legal aid. Among the wounded soldiers, We've met professors, poets, scientists who have put their lives, their careers, and the lives of their families on hold to protect their country, culture, and sovereignty from Russia's brutal violation of the international law. Today, I would like to also speak about some categories of cases I have worked with the most, and the first one and the most common for our legal clinic is veterans and veterans with war-related disabilities. According to the observation of the psychologists who work with them during rehabilitation, legal issues or legal uncertainty often prevent them from returning to civil life freely and from starting a new page. For example, we dealt with a Marine who was seriously injured twice during a full-scale invasion, and at the same time, the state provides payments for their period of stationary treatment. The fact is that the military unit to which this serviceman was legally entitled to apply for such assistance was located in Mariupol and was almost completely destroyed. So the soldier lost all of his contacts to get the financial help he was entitled to, and he turned to the legal clinic feeling unsure and desperate. At first, he was so despondent that he didn't even want to talk about his legal issues related to the payments and documents, and for several weeks didn't dare to talk to us during our work in one of the hospitals. In turn, we were able to find out all the necessary information and prepared a couple of procedural documents for him, and the client received his payment. For me, this is a case. This case is a story about community and belief in the best. So I'm incredibly happy that I had the opportunity to contribute to the resolution of these legal issues. Although the legal clinic has been specialized in military and veterans since its establishment, over the past year, we have also begun to work intensively with civilians who have lost some of their health, family, or homes. In our work with civilians, the most impressive thing for me personally is how people who have lost so much continue to live with the goals and inspiration for new achievements. As an example, I would like to share with you one of the many such impressive stories. Over the past year, I have been working on the case of a civilian woman who lost her only son and had her arm and leg amputated when a Russian missile hit her apartment in Donetsk region at the beginning of the Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine. As for now, she has nowhere to go back to, as she lost her home after the same airstrike, not to mention the fact that her city is now occupied. Since it happened at the very beginning of the full-scale invasion, it was difficult to apply for the right type of pension and receive state-guaranteed benefits. We have already had significant victories and have almost reached our goal, which is to help her with the registration of the proper type of pension and getting her status of a person with disability due to the war, which will allow her to claim certain benefits from the state. The most important thing in this story is that after everything she has been through, she continued to dream and set new goals. For example, she is currently writing a book with recipes that she would like to share in the future. And by the way, one of our consultations took place while she was learning how to walk on her prosthesis leg, baking the best cookies we have ever tried with only one hand. After that, you realize that no matter how hard it is, you have to do your best and use the opportunities you have to provide high quality legal aid to those who need it most. At least this is the minimum we can do for them. And in conclusion, I would like to say that I realized that in addition to high professional knowledge and skills, we get the opportunity to look at law in a different way, not just a way to make money or personal development. For us, law is a tool for helping people, and this social part is very important and unique here. Our task as a law student is to help by doing what we can while growing professionally, so that in the future, after Ukrainians' victory, we can continue to build our state which promotes the values of the civilized world, such as rule of law, respect for human rights, and human dignity. Thank you very much, and Slava Ukraini!
Slava. І дякуємо, Ярославе. Boy, smart people of character, non-indifferent people, a university that serves. I think Yaroslav has just shared some stories with us that make that all come to life in spades. Very moving. And thank you for your service and the wonderful work that you're doing, Yaroslava, with your friends and colleagues. Our next student speaker, Diana Kachnich, is a fourth-year undergraduate student in social work who's enhancing her academic learning with an internship at the Ministry of Social Policy of Ukraine. Beyond her academics and her professional development commitments, Diana has a strong sense of social responsibility and community engagement. This year, she took part in a special cultural and spiritual initiative to bring warmth, encouragement, and a little bit of festive spirit to those defending our country near the front lines. Diana and fellow student volunteers traveled to the east of Ukraine and performed carols and the Christmas vertap, or nativity play, for servicemen near the front lines. Diana, we'd love to hear about your experience about bringing a little bit of brightness to the defenders this past Christmas. Please, we welcome you to our webinar.
Glory to Jesus Christ. And first of all, thank you for the opportunity to witness you now. It is a great honor for me to be here with you. And today I would really like to share my experience of war. But first of all, my name is Diana Kachnich, and yeah, I'm first year student of social work. And to be honest, UCU for me is the place I grew as a person. And I would like to start that when I entered the university in 2021, I knew for sure that I wanted to go to UCU because of the quality of education, values that the university fosters, and because education for me, despite all the narratives, is the formation of me as a person, my values, knowledge, which I will then be able to carry into this world and create change after graduation. Yeah, and also why social work? That's because integral part of it, it teaches me how to work properly with people and the most important for people. And of course, I wanted to say that I also have a scholarship and during my 4 years of study. And I wanted to thank all of the donors for the opportunity for scholarship because of that, I can have a quality education. And thanks to the university, I can serve others, especially during a full-scale invasion. So thank you really. And about my experience of the volunteering, so I would definitely say that over the past years, I realized the importance of supporting Ukraine and national spirits because when you go to the military groups where there is sadness, despair, pain, despondency in their eyes, you realize the importance of your work. And yeah, to be honest, despite working with children who survived the occupation and all of the other projects, I also had the opportunity to take part in one of the projects which calls Christmas Together from the student organization of UCU. I visited IDPs from Luhansk and Donetsk region, wounded soldiers in hospitals. And it was an honor for me that thanks to the university, I had this opportunity like to be the head of this project and to serve the people. And after that, after 2-3 days, I went to the project Vertep to the east. And I spent 8 days in Kherson, Zaporizhia, and Donetsk regions. And to be honest, hearing a gratitude from soldiers was the most valuable experience for me. And some of you might saw the video. I met one person. It was a soldier from Lviv region, and for his carols and Christmas plays, Vertep is like one of the most important part during the winter, you know, and for his Christianity as well. And I saw him, and he told me like, Oh, I'm so happy to see all of you guys. For me as a soldier is super important because you came here and then I saw tears on his eyes and he told me that he haven't heard a live carol song for 3 years. And he was literally full of tears and he was like, you are guys so brave for coming here because like not all of the volunteers, not all of the people will come to the front line, of course. And after we made our performance, he started to smile. And as you can see at the picture, lots of the soldiers started to feel, even for a second, some happiness. And my conclusion here will be that when you see soldiers, servicemen, and all of their pain, and you see those guys who have been living in dugouts for several years, and some of them have just returned from position 0, the like very front line. After the performance, they smile and cannot express how sincerely grateful they are. It makes clear that the projects we do at the university are as important and necessary as possible. And yeah, for me, it was one of the most valuable experiences. And it is a reminder for us that we should remember about our soldiers and help them in all ways which just possible. So thank you very much and glory to Ukraine.
Yes, слава Україні, героям слава. Дякуємо, Діано. Your compassion and your commitment to building a strong and supportive community is palpable. And, you know, Taras talked about bravery and courage and commitment and building community. I think you embody all of those qualities, and the work that you were doing outside of your academic work and as your volunteer work is very, very admirable. Thank you for sharing that story. So let me tell you about our last student that we will be hearing from. Roman Zavadowski is a second-year master's student specializing in physical therapy. He is focusing his studies and practical skills in the field of rehabilitation and physiology. He's applying his studies and honing his skills through his work at Unbroken. For those of you who may not know, Unbroken is a new state-of-the-art rehabilitation center in Lviv. There, Roman works to ensure holistic, multidisciplinary recovery approaches, which include not just doctors and orthopedists, but also psychologists and occupational therapists, so that the individuals recovering from their physical injuries can recover as a full human being. With the new facilities like Unbroken and Superhumans, which you saw in the video and in Taras's presentation, UCU is helping to set gold standards for care. And so I'm very curious to hear more about Roman's experience. And so I'm glad that you can share that with us.
Glory to Jesus Christ, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and share my story with you. My name is Roman, and I am the second-year student of Master Program of the Physical Therapy. I joined the UCU community in 2023 and was pleasantly surprised. To begin with, I would like to tell you about the beginning of my journey as a physical therapist. Maybe as everyone, I have the relative and friends who went to protect our freedom from February 2022. My uncle and cousin are in army from 2014. Because I wanted to be useful and felt that I have to do something since September 2022, I have been volunteering at St. Pantelemon's Hospital in the neurosurgery department and the rehab unit. Mostly I work with soldiers with different diseases, like traumatic brain injury, like spinal cord injury and stroke. Often when I work with soldiers with injuries and disabilities, I think how they can get back home to society and live their lives without medical care. At hospital, I met ex-student of Ukrainian Catholic University, and I asked them about UCU, and their answers were like, This is the best place. This is the best place when you can study physiotherapy, and being the part of UCU community is very helpful experience for all your future life. So some words about my experience as a UCU student on the physical therapy program. As I said before, I joined the UCU community in September 2023. When I entered the university, I had the scholarship that covers the entire cost of my education. And I'm very grateful my founders, which helped me because the scholarship gave me the opportunity to focus on my education and professional growth. My decision to enter the university was based on the experience of my colleagues, and during my volunteering, I met the teachers from UCU, and their knowledge and professional skills persuades me. I very appreciate the opportunity that UCU gave me as a student. When I entered the university, I became a part of big united community. UCU community are strong and very united. I will always remember when one of my patients needed blood, and I shared the request from my hospital at our chats in messengers, and maybe 50 students write me that I am ready to help you. And about cooperation between UCU and Unbroken, this cooperation gives me the opportunity to practice my professional skills under the supervision of highly qualified professionals who have years and years experience. Due to cooperation with Unbroken, I have practiced in many hospitals and with many kinds of patients with different diagnoses. This practice gave me a chance to apply my theoretic knowledge to practice. All supervisors were always ready to help me with all my questions which I have during the practice. And now I work in Unbroken in the neurorehabilitation and and can give our patients a high qualified service. Today on the video, you can see Dmitro. And on the photo, you can see Dmitro. He is the architect, and in 2023, he came back from Europe to defend our country. He was wounded in the fall of 2024, and now he is in Lviv, in Unbroken, on the rehabilitation. I started my work with him from the first day in our hospital in the intensive care unit, and his legs and right arm were very seriously injured. Our surgeon spent a lot of hard hours trying to save his legs and arm. And now on the video, you can see the result of my and Dmitro hard work. And now at the end of my degree, I can honestly say that I'm grateful UCU for giving me the opportunity to become the better physiotherapist and being the part of the UCU community. Thank you very much, and glory to Ukraine.
Дякую, Romana. Thank you, Roman. Clearly, you're making an impact already as you're studying, and what a wonderful contribution you're making to the lives of so many people. I really, as I reflect on all of our students that have spoken today, it really makes me think, can you imagine a whole world filled with these kinds of smart, compassionate, caring, forward-thinking individuals? The world would certainly be a better place. So thank you all. Thank you all so much for all that you do and for sharing your stories with us. And now for our closing remarks. And before we go to our Q&A, it is my sincere honor to introduce Pan Miroslav Marinovich, a human rights defender, civic activist, a founding member of the Ukrainian Helsinki Group for Human Rights, a dissident and a former political prisoner, an honorary president of PEN International, a leading writers association championing freedom of expression and literacy advocacy worldwide. Pan Miroslav has worked at UCU when it was formerly the Lviv Theological Academy and in its form now as UCU for 27 years altogether. He's been among the leaders of the management team at UCU, and he helped set the course and give a rhythm to the university's activities. Since 2000, Pan Miroslav has been a vice rector of the university and a member of the Rectorat, continuing to help it to grow and move forward. His unapologetic patriotism, his national position of prominence, and deep feeling for the Ukrainian people, he always encourages the UCU community to witness and serve for the good of the church and Ukraine. In this most difficult time, his fatherly words of wisdom, His optimism and faith in the future inspire and calm the souls of those in doubt. I can't think of a more appropriate person to share his perspectives and closing remarks for our webinar today. Pán Miroslavi, передаю вам слово.
Thank you, Annette. Slava Isusu Christu, glory to Jesus Christ. 3 years ago, UCU, of course, was not prepared for a full-scale Russian war against Ukraine. We wanted to believe until the last moment that the Kremlin would be smart enough not to take this fatal step. So the shock was great. However, the heroic resistance of the armed forces of Ukraine restored our faith relatively quickly and became a model for internal consolidation. And within a week, UCU turned into a large beehive in which each member of the community found his or her important function. The rectorate took care of the university's life. Professors turned into psychotherapists for inspired students. And the students selflessly began to repackage the humanitarian aid and transport it as needed. Since then, the main features of UCU's life have been resilience, initiative, and hope. Today, nothing has changed. The rectorate, feeling the support of the Senate, provides a safety cushion for the university in case of force majeure. We have adapted the educational process to war conditions. In particular, we have developed an algorithm for responding to air raid alerts or sudden blackouts. The flexibility with which the university combines offline and online education and operations is helpful in this regard. The availability of reliable shelters made it possible to maintain a normal rhythm of study and work in case of danger. The challenges of this war have fully emphasized to the university community the importance of spiritual values, such as solidarity, mutual support, faithfulness to the truth, and the readiness to sacrifice. This is facilitated by the full-fledged work of the Deanery of Pastoral Affairs of UCU, as well as educational work with students by the pastors of the two colleges of UCU and curators of student life. I was glad to hear recently from a student how happy we are to be in the UCU community in times of war. In recent days, geopolitical turbulence has brought new challenges and new anxieties. Donald Trump's unpredictable statements and actions are on everyone's lips, and great concern is spreading among our people about what the future holds for Ukraine and the whole world. However, there is no panic on the university campus. Quite the contrary. I heard many people repeat the following phrase like a mantra: the fate of Ukraine is in the hands of Ukrainians themselves. And this thought also unites the UCU community today. In the new geopolitical circumstances, we realize that our context with numerous partners in the democratic world have become even more important than ever. It is likely that today, not only the main security structure of the world, but also bilateral and multilateral partnerships will be reformatted. A few days ago, at a Munich conference of 3 Catholic universities, Notre Dame in the United States, Leopold Maximilian University in Munich, and UCU, we saw that our university has already organically entered the environment of Catholic education as a full and even honored participant in this partnership. In March, a similar conference with UCU's participation will take place at the University of Notre Dame. This gives us confidence that such partnerships will become for us a kind of security framework that will stabilize UCU in any geopolitical circumstances. And I would like to conclude with a thought that nourished my optimism even in the much worse circumstances of my imprisonment in the Gulag. It is not the politicians of the world, but God who is the master of history. This is where our hope comes from. As the rector of our university, Taras Dobko, said, UCU, of course, is a project created by people. However, we believe that God's providence is working over it. So let me once again express my deep gratitude for your support to our university. Slava Ukraini, glory to Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Дякуємо, пане Мирославе. Thank you so much for those inspiring words and your wisdom and your indefatigable spirit and optimism for Ukraine and your belief in God and the strength of the individual human being, and that Ukraine holds the fate of Ukraine in its hands. Thank you for those inspiring words.
Thank you.
So I'd like to say that this concludes the formal portion of our presentation. I hope you've been inspired, informed, learned something new about this incredible institution, UCU, that we are so thrilled and so honored to be able to support. If you are so moved, there are, of course, many ways to support UCU. I've noticed the traffic on the chat about ESS. That is a volunteer program where folks come for the summer and from all over the world to help language students, foreign language students of UCU, work with native language speakers. I'm going to suggest we had recently had another webinar that talked about UCU and you can find that on the Foundation's webpage, but also as ESS on the university's webpage. But hopefully we can get it up in the chat as well, so if anybody's interested in that. But really what I'd like to do now is to open it up to any further questions if anyone has. Apologies that we ran a little over, but we started a little bit late. And I see that Taras Dubko has raised his hand. Taras,
And I just wanted to add to what you said about ESS, that we are also now collaborating with our Ukrainian military academies to help their students, to future, officers of Ukraine to learn good English. So we also invite volunteers, who will help students of these military academies in collaboration with UCU.
Yes. There are many ways that we encourage everybody to engage and support UCU, not just financially, but also with volunteering, spreading the word, raising awareness about Ukraine and about this incredible institution in Western Ukraine. Thank you, Taras, for those additional comments as well. Do we have any specific questions? If not, then I will thank you once again. I'd like to thank all of our speakers and especially our students. What an incredible journey you're all on. And if you are what the future of Ukraine holds, then the future of Ukraine is very, very bright, and there is hope. You are the hope for us and for all of us who support UKU and support Ukraina. You can see wherever you happen to be in the globe, there are ways that you can support UKU either directly in Ukraine or at the foundation in the US, also in Canada and Great Britain. We welcome your support, we welcome your engagement, and we are very grateful that you joined us today. And hopefully it's not the last encounter you'll have with UKU. Thank you again. Slava Ukraini! Слава Ісусу Христу!